Welcome to IRI's monthly webinar, How Philip Morris International is Driving and Leading Self-Disruption. Today's webinar is sponsored by Qmarkets, a leading enterprise-grade supplier of idea and innovation management software. The webinar is being recorded and it will be archived. You can submit any questions on the webinar dashboard for a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Today's speakers are Michael Stilger, the co-founder of Qmarkets and an internationally recognized thought leader in the field of crowdsourcing and innovation management. Vincent Ducret, head of Fast Forward Communities at Philip Morris International, and Laszlo Jerfi, president, Enterprise Development Group, a renowned consulting and training firm headquartered in Silicon Valley. At the end of the session, there'll be a Q&A moderated by Michael Stilger. Thank you for your decision to join us today. And now, let's welcome Michael Stilger, the co-founder of Qmarkets.
So hello, everyone. We're excited about the time today we have. I'm grateful for Vincent. Thank you so much. Philip Morris, one of our customers, to join. And also, obviously, Laszlo, one of our fantastic partners based in the Silicon Valley. I'm going to take you through the first 5 minutes quickly about Qmarkets and what we're doing. And then we will come to the superstar of the event today, which is Vincent. So, innovate or die. We all know this. I'm not going to bore you too much with details here. We have many reasons to innovate. Important is that the real question is what we do and how. The important part here is most companies are looking at innovation to move this forward by running workshops, consulting services, hackathons, roundtables, innovation consulting, and then combining it with a software solution. They either have a DIY solution there or social collaboration software like Yammer or Jive or something like this. And then here on the bottom you see idea management software or innovation software, which is provided by Qmarkets or other system providers. Important, the question every organization has is how to scale and cultivate your innovation program. And we believe in this magic triangle here, where you have the ultimate goal is to scale innovation, not to just innovate in little groups or in little silos or so, but to scale innovation throughout the organization. And we're of the firm belief that this needs to have a very strong strategy and process, as you can see on the right side, and it needs a powerful tool that lets you reach every member of your innovation community. And you can see as closer both, if you imagine both make parallel process and move forward together, the closer they get to the ultimate goal of scaling innovation throughout an organization. With that comes obviously the culture of innovation and all the benefits that come from being innovative. So what is idea management? Is a structured process of generating, capturing, and discussing, improving, organizing valuable and prioritizing valuable insights and ideas, and get them through to results. Now, why a tool? Collecting of ideas is not enough. We see this with many of our customers. They think wow, we have an ideation tool. Let's collect ideas. Let's thumbs up, thumbs down, 3 stars out of 5, and the process stops there. But this is by far not an innovation system. That's then just an ideation front end, which is nice and it's the right start. But it's all about a process to mirror your innovation process. And you will hear some of this from Vincent and obviously Laszlo, how important it is to have this process and to mirror your process in a software tool that lets you filter, monitor, manage, assign, prioritize ideas, involve the right people, involve the right experts within your organization, maybe outside of your organization, and go far beyond. The typical business cases for an innovation or ideation management system are fourfold. Leverage employee innovation management, so employee collaboration for an internal culture to create either disruptive innovation, new products and services, but new blue oceans, but also for the ability to improve processes and so on. The next one is to catalyze corporate scouting. That's really another way to capture innovation. You know, internal innovation and external innovation are happening. But there are also lots of startups, especially there where Laszlo sits in the Silicon Valley, but also our roots of Qmarkets in Tel Aviv, the startup nations, startup areas, and you know, the giants of today's industries are often not worried about what the number 2 or number 3 in the industry do, but the latest tech startup, fintech, biotech, whatever startup that is around, and that concerns many, and a tool lets you capture these startups and manage the process, involve stakeholders, even to an M&A stage. And then the 2 other business cases are open innovation. We see this more and more with our customers, that they, our corporate clients, that they want to reach out to their supply chain, to reach out to their partners, to academia, but also to consumers, B2B customers, and so on. So open innovation is becoming a very, very hot topic. It's a buzzword for many years, but now is the time when it's actually starting to really happen. And also cultivating a customer-centric culture. To engage the voice of the customer, optimize your products and services, improve your quality, and very much generate the bottom line results. So these are the four use cases, which is the disruptive innovation, the employer-driven innovation, so just within your company, the open innovation outside of your company, scouting the startups, and the customer-centric culture for improving. We have been told many times that we're best in class. Our tool offers a rich community of engagement tools, multiple crowd voting tools, advanced gamification to engage with your with the users, multilingual communication, automated with an API, an interface with Google Translate, custom branding, fully mobile ready, responsive. and all of this lets you involve, for example, the last point, also blue-collar workers that work in a factory or working mobile workers. You can be fully engaged. And in the end of the day, what our software does, it taps the crowd and harnesses the collective intelligence of this crowd, whether it's the employees, your employees, customers, business partners, or all of them together, and gets you to a point where you actually receive collective intelligence. The top ideas float up, and you become more agile, more innovative, and easily engaged. Just very quickly about Qmarkets before I hand over. We are a global organization with offices very strongly represented in Europe and the US. Our headquarters is in Tel Aviv. We are knocking on the 300 customers globally. I need to say to that most of them are truly global players, so multilingual engagement, multicultural, and they all come together and collaborate on our platform. And we are proud to have many different customers that we can call loyal and are part of our wonderful portfolio. So we're obviously proud that Philip Morris International is one of those customers. We're grateful to Vincent that he's here today, and we'll give you some insights what Philip Morris has done. They've done, or they're producing some magic, and I'm very happy to bring and introduce you to you, all of you. From my end, I would be delighted at the end, looking forward to your questions. I'm encouraging you to asking lots of questions, and of course, Qmarkets would be absolutely thrilled to give you a demo system of our software or run a demo with you. Thank you very much.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. Before starting, I would like just to thank you, Michael and Qmarkets, to offer me the opportunity to talk a little bit more about the transformation our company is going through. And in the case of this webinar, I will more talk about the internal transformation I'm contributing to with my team and my worldwide colleagues. A few words about me just to start. I used to work for Sun Microsystem in the past. You may know or remember this company, who used to be a super innovative company in the 90s, 2000, but that's a good example of a company which was not able to see the transformation happening around and which disappeared. I joined PMI already more than 10 years ago in the role of application architect. I have other positions like leading the duty-free organization from an IS IT perspective. And then I joined back the operations centers, and I had the responsibility to create an innovation department for the IS/IT organization. So after a few years in the duty-free organization in charge of the IS/IT organization, I was proposed to create an innovation department for the IS and IT department of Philip Morris, with the objective to make our employee much more proactive and much more innovative and much more entrepreneurial. And this is when I created a platform called Nova, which was not only providing funnel pitching practices, but also an innovation platform based on Qmarkets. And this is at that time that we introduced the Qmarkets product in our organization. But I also open innovation to much more other partners, much more other suppliers. And I also created an outpost in San Francisco to bring signal some trends of the markets and to see what might happen, what might disrupt our company. Using this, I created 2 years ago, with the support of 2 other colleagues, the Fast Forward framework. I will talk about it, which is taking all the best of lean startup, agile, design thinking, but also Nova, to develop a much more customer-centric organization, which is able to quickly respond to the fast-changing world we are living in. A few key words about the company, not too much, but if you don't know, we are operating today in 180 markets. We have more than 80,000 employees, so we have a huge diversity of people working for Philip Morris. And at the moment, one of our main tasks is to switch, as you may know, maybe smokers, to our new, what we call reduced risk products. So we have today around 6 million of people who already switch to those new products. Now, you might have seen this vision of PMI, which is about designing a smoke-free future. So helping people to move from cigarettes to products which have the potential to reduce risk. At the moment, we have 4 platforms which are already available in the market or still in development. We have products which are heating tobacco. This is platform 1 and 2. The first one is quite known because already deployed in multiple markets. This is IQOS. And we have product without tobacco like platform 3 and platform 4, which is today available in UK under the name IQOS Mesh. But designing a smoke-free future is not only about launching new product. If we want to succeed in this vision, we have to orchestrate today 3 main transformations in one. We have, of course, the product transformation because we are moving from conventional cigarettes to new products. So we are entering a new area where we have a lot of uncertainties and unknown because, for example, we are today producing electronic device. We have also to organize an external transformations because we have to connect back to some people that we were not talking to in the past, or we are talking to new people, new kind of consumers. And we have the internal transformations. And this is what I will talk about it in the next 10 minutes, because this is the part that I'm co-leading for the last 2 years with my colleague. So what is about the internal transformation? So the internal transformations, what we are looking at is to evolve our overall organization into a company that will master digital, lean, and agile skills, to display agility, entrepreneurship, and collaboration as core behaviors. So we have fundamentally to change our way of working, our way of thinking, and our mindset. And why do we have to do this? Because today we are working in a VUCA world. If you have never seen this acronym before, VUCA stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Why volatile? Because today we have consumers which are no more stuck to products. Today, the consumers, they have superpower. They can change their needs, they can change their behavior very quickly because they have in front of them a panel of products they never had before. And especially if you enter the electronic area. Uncertain, because uncertain today, you don't know what might be the business, how it may look like in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. In the past, we used to work in a business which was quite stable. So it was quite easy for us to predict 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Today, with all those new products we are launching where we have no knowledge, we cannot really predict how the future will look like. Complex, because complex today, as we are entering new area, we have also new competitors. And those competitors might not be the top players we used to face in the past. And ambiguous again, because we don't know, for example, what the users may think about our new product, how they may react in the future, how the competition may evolve, may change. So we have to deal today in this fast changing world. And this is why we have to change the way we are working, the way we are thinking. We have also to move from a brand-centric approach to a customer-centric approach, okay? So in the past, as our customers were very, let's say, fidel, if I can say like this, to our product, it was very rare that people were changing from a product to another. Today, they can change because they have a huge offer in front of them and they are no more really stuck to product. So we have to move from this brand-centric approach to the customer-centric approach, exactly like Heinz did it with this iconic product, like the ketchup bottle. Because if you look on the right side, today this product is much more customer-centric than the glass one used to be. We have also to move from a business-centric approach where we are just looking at what we as business wants to happen to much more what are the needs, what are the desires, what are the expectations of the customers. So we have to find the perfect intersection between the customer value and the business value. And this is what we call at PMI today, finding at any time for any idea, any project, any initiatives we are working on, the sweet spot. How can we bring customer value and business value at the same time? Because business value will never bring usually the customer value. You can take any business model multiplied by 0 will always equal 0. So how can we, through the customer value, bring the business value and finding the sweet spot? So shifting our way of working, this is why we created a framework called Fast Forward, which is a customer-centric framework that leverages rapid iteration and experimentation to move from business challenges to customer problems and to successful business solutions, having continuously this customer-centric and rapid experimentation mindset. And the more important in big corporate like us is also to be sure that we are progressing over the journey, over the different project initiative through validated learning and no more through the opinions of someone, okay? So it's really the data and the evidence that matters and not the opinion of someone in the organization. So what is Fast Forward at the end? So Fast Forward is not a process. Corporates are usually stuck to process, and it's very often that you can see people stuck to process. They want to hear everything as a process. It's not about a process. It's really a set of principles, of tools that we are putting together to change the way of working. So the tools are not the ultimate goal. They are just a driver to help you to think differently, to be much more customer-centric, and to quickly test with your customers if you are doing the right thing. So we take out of different containers, different framework, the best elements of digital world, of the lean startup world, of agile, of lean manufacturing and design thinking, and we put them in one container under the umbrella that we call Fast Forward. So if we make the comparison between Fast Forward and the traditional way corporates used to work, including ourselves, that I could say like MBA working styles, we are moving from the execution first, where we used to prepare everything perfectionist upfront, and then we were starting working, to much more customer-centric. So providing this approach where, first of all, we have to understand who is our customers, what might be the problem they are facing, what might be their need, their expectation, where is the needs, where is the opportunity. And then once we know that we have the right customer and the right problem through data and evidence, we can start exploring for solutions, for ideas to solve their problems, to address their opportunities, but also quickly test all the assumptions, the hypotheses we are making around those ideas. So we are always asking, are we doing the right thing now before doing the thing right? Because it doesn't make sense to move in an execution mode if at the end you are not able to demonstrate that you have a fit between a problem and a solution, and then between the solutions, let's say the markets, the product and the market. So today, we are really insisting for all the projects we are running to go through those moments to justify the fact that we have to invest money in a given solution. So this is a radical change, because in the past, as you might have seen, big corporate like us used to just execute. We had an idea, we were just delivering it, okay? Expecting that the customers will pop up by magic. Today, with all those new areas we are entering, we have to be much more close to the customers because we have to fit their needs, their expectations. Otherwise, we will have a great business model, but with zero customers. So what are the key principles that we put in place with this Fast Forward framework approach? First of all, we are trying to reduce the bigger risk into smaller risk, which means that rather than waiting long time to test our risk, how can we slice the elephant into small steps that we can quickly validate or invalidate the risk, the assumptions we have. We are, of course, solving a real problem that real customers have. So really putting ourselves today in the shoes of the customers. So today, our employees are getting trained to do customer interview, customer observation, customer journey, to be sure that they are able to empathize with their customers. We are also trying now to iterate quickly and to progress based on validated feedback, data, and evidence. And we are much more data informed. And last but not least, we have to deeply challenge our assumptions day after day. This is the only way we can be sure that, or we can de-risk the execution moments where we will build the stuff for real. If we look at different containers, different framework, different methodology that you might have heard, this is how we position them at PMI. If you think about design thinking, it's all about empathize with your customers, knowing your customer better, knowing their problems, putting yourself again in the shoes of the customers. But the design thinking is not really looking at the business value. So you may come with great ideas, but they might not be feasible or viable. This is why in the explore moment, we are strongly leveraging the lean startup movement and the lean startup framework to validate or invalidate our assumptions in terms of desirability, feasibility, and viability. You may see Nova. I talked about Nova before, which was the first framework I created 4 years ago for the IS innovation department. And this one is including Qmarkets. So we keep using Nova, of course, for offering the opportunity to our employee to generate ideas, to select ideas based on customer problems, and sometimes to even pitch those ideas in front of growth or innovation boards we have in-house. For the executions, we are more and more promoting today a Scrum methodology to deploy and develop the solution that we know are the right things to do. We still have waterfall for some opportunity for some cases, but more and more we are pushing Agile and Scrum in our organization. And the lean manufacturing, we keep using the lean manufacturing because it helps us to improve some existing process we might have in operations. Now, just to conclude, because I have very limited time today with you to share, maybe more time during the Q&A. And of course, I will share with you my contacts. So if you want to contact me back after for more information, more discussion, feel free. So if we look at fast forward in actions today, I have put on this map all the markets where we have already introduced fast forward over the last 2 years, and when the markets are already progressing, already working in that way on the project. And those projects might be related to product, to services, to process. So we are really touching the whole organization of PMI. And remember that this is a quite big elephant because we have more than 80,000 employees worldwide. But how do we do this? We don't just do this by giving them some tools and say, up to you, good luck. No, we have a strong organization in place today at PMI to support our market and functions. If you look at the pyramid in the middle, you can see at the bottom the catalyst. So who are the catalysts? Those people are internal or external people who have a deep expertise, knowledge, and passions in design thinking, lean startup, customer centricity. So they are guiding, coaching the different project team to be sure that they are doing the right things before building the things right. On top of this, you have the builder. So the builder are local people, which are usually reporting to our local management, which may be seen like the orchestrators. They are like program managers, ensuring that the different project teams they are supervising are applying the right principles. And when they go to growth board, innovation board, they are pitching all the data and evidence they have collected, and then they are proposing the next experiments. And on top of this, you have the coach. So the coach is a central organization that we have in Lausanne, where those coaches are helping the local managements to deploy fast forward in their local market and function. And the last one you may see on the left side are the fast forward champions. So the fast forward champion is my team. So we are equipping and driving the community today, makes of builders and catalysts all around the world. And if you look at some numbers, you can see that my team is quite small at the moment because I have 4 people reporting to me, but every day I'm dealing with hundreds of people all around the world, helping us to institutionalize fast forward across all the organization. We have a bunch of coaches based in Lausanne, which are central people. We have 200 builders, lots of catalysts, and this number is growing, growing, and growing. And as you may see, we have already lots of project teams involved, more than 300, including some local fast forward trainers that we are also helping and supervising. And in total today, after more than 2 years, we have already enabled more than 80,000 employees to apply fast forward on their project, on their initiatives, as well as their day-to-day activity. Is this journey completed at the time of this speech? Absolutely not. We have lots of stuff in front of us still, but we are really moving towards, I will say, turning our huge organization into a much more agile, lean thinking, and customer-centric organization. It's a long journey, but it's a super passionating journey, and I will be able to talk a little bit more about this one during the Q&A. So I thank you for your time. I hope that you will have a few questions regarding this one. And on this, I will pass the hand to Laszlo for the last part of this webcast.
That was great, Vincent. You really brought PMI's transformation effort into view. Speaking of view, I often ask my clients, what do you see as you look out the window of your office building? Do you see a world of abundance or scarcity? How do all of you sitting here in this webinar, when you look out the window at the world and what it holds for your organization, what do you see? Is it abundance or scarcity? It's interesting because, of course, the answer to that depends on how well you can innovate. If you can innovate well, all the changes appear to be potential opportunities. As you listen to Vincent's story, you can see them start to see brand new opportunities. But unfortunately, if you can't innovate, the changes are seen as threats to your margins, your market share, and even ultimately your organization's existence. So to mature your innovation capabilities, the point of corporate transformation, like we're hearing from Vincent, takes a lot of work, and he will certainly give me a thumbs up on that one. But hopefully with his presentation, you're getting a feel for how it can be done and the potential payoffs. But many of your organizations are not there yet. So I want to rewind instead of fast forward and tell a story of how we helped build the innovation program from the beginning. Let me provide some quick background on myself and my company. My partners and I have been working together for almost 30 years, helping our clients expand the possible. Our office is located in Silicon Valley, but EDG is very much an international firm. We consult, train, speak, and write about our business strategy and innovation work, and we've been implementing Qmarket systems for many, many years. So the story at Philip Morris is one that's been sort of replicated with other clients we've had, where they've had enlightened leadership who recognize the need for change. They start hearing similar voices from the rank and file saying we need to do things differently, and then they make a bold decision. They decide to leverage their IS or IT unit to lead the innovation charge. After all, who in the company knows more about the digital world and how solutions could be used to improve performance across the enterprise or even to support the development of new products? And PMI's IS unit, as you heard from Vincent, was charged with moving from passive to proactive to build innovation capabilities and bring potential solutions and enabling technologies. The path we laid out for PMI and Vincent was to follow our fast, wide, and deep approach. The phases build on one another, allowing for quick wins at scale, or planting the cultural seeds for sustained success. I'm going to quickly highlight 5 key elements of this approach that launched PMI's innovation efforts and led them ultimately to what you heard from Vincent about his fast forward work at the moment. All right, number 1, of course, we begin with strategy, the obvious place. We used an innovation blueprinting session that had PMI leaders answering 4 fundamental questions. Where's the world going? Markets are always on the move, and now they're moving even faster. And in this global, mobile, social, hyper digital world, what do you want to become? And as you can see from PMI, this is actually a very profound question to be answered. Then we ask, where are you now vis-a-vis your envisioned future? And ultimately, how do you get 8,000 or 80,000 employees, as it was with Philip Morris, to build that desired future? The blueprint helped align leaders around a shared picture of both the designation and the journey, as well as prioritize innovation activities, as you were hearing about Vincent's international team. We were able to lay out a plan of action and manage 4 parallel work streams. We continued the strategy work as we looked to engage other units besides IT, such as supply chain and R&D and others that would be supportive of the transformation. And there was mindset, skill set work, process and tools work, and there was the always flowing communication work stream. Now I was going to make a joke about blowing my own horn, tooting my own horn at this point, but I thought, this image of all of you groaning at your laptops together just decided I'd behave. But I do want to talk about capability building. We moved through the strategy and used the work stream to create what we call innovation architecture. The architecture helps ensure we're covering the key areas and that all the pieces fit together and that they're all fit for purpose. We don't just want to construct the house, we need to create a home for innovation inside the organization. Vincent and I racked up a lot of frequent flyer miles working on one of the central pieces of the architecture, creating a global innovation catalyst network. You got to hear a little glimpse about how that was working in Fast Forward. The goal was to dramatically expand the reach, the influence, the impact of his team. Each region had a team lead, a voluntary army of part-time innovation catalysts, and we used boot camps to train 50 catalysts at a time and wanted them to become ambassadors for the program, to be local coaches for employees, to facilitate the various innovation activities, and to be change agents, quite frankly, to keep the momentum rolling and to act as early warning system so we could respond quickly when the inevitable issues emerged. As all of you know, changing culture is not an easy task. 3, let's talk a little bit about tools, but in fact, I am just going to talk about one tool. It's one of the most powerful tools we've seen in the innovation space, and it's one that has proved to be valuable over the years. That tool is called CoStar. It was developed from our collaborations with Silicon Valley startups, VCs, research labs, etc., where we asked, what makes an idea a valuable idea? The kind of idea worth investing your time and money in. 6 fundamental questions emerged from that research, and we built an acronym around that called CoStar. The 6 questions that create the value proposition for your idea are: who's the customer and what's their unmet need? What is the opportunity presented by that customer pain point or problem that needs to be solved? What is your solution for addressing that customer opportunity? Who needs to be on the team, either develop the idea, implement the idea? What's your competitive advantage over the alternatives? There are many ways to solve customer problems. Why is yours the best? And what results will you achieve? What are the benefits back to the customer at the end of the day? And what are the returns to your organization or institution? CoStar offers tremendous benefit to PMI innovators and evaluators alike as they tried to navigate the front end of their innovation process. It acted like a forcing function, guiding idea development toward high-value ideas while reducing risk. Keep in mind, CoStar was used for bigger ideas as opposed to sort of incremental improvements. These are ideas that require often sometimes significant investment. Innovators need clear and compelling value propositions if they're going to succeed with ideas that are likely to disrupt the market or their own company in some manner. But CoStar really starts having an impact when it becomes part of the culture, a vehicle for enhanced collaboration. And you hear people from all around the organization say, it's just how we innovate around here. Number 4, and of course you can't possibly have IS lead a set of digital breakthroughs without having their own innovation system. Vincent mentioned it before, but Nova was set up to reach out to employees around the world, capture their ideas, and manage the innovation pipeline. Thank you, Qmarkets. We had open campaigns that captured spontaneous ideas on any topic, and of course ran many targeted campaigns based on business priorities. We had early successes that we shared with the workforce to demonstrate the new methods of innovating were working. And finally, the immersion. Vincent and his team made a number of trips to visit us in Silicon Valley. They, like many of our other clients, benefited greatly from our programmatic approach to engaging the Silicon Valley ecosystem. PMI learned from pioneers, they made new partnerships, they picked up innovation tips, they were inspired by new technologies and business models, and they brought the best of that value back to their organization. And they continue to do so with their outpost. And finally, Bill Hewitt, Dave Packard, founded HP in 1938, working in this garage behind a craftsman-style home in Palo Alto. It's only 2 miles from our office. It is one of the legendary sites in Silicon Valley, and it reminds everybody that world-changing innovation can come from the humblest of beginnings if you have the right mindset, skill set, and toolkit. I want to conclude my part of the webinar with the inspiring ground rules that guided HP, and that can be embraced by you and your enterprise. The ground rules are: believe you can change the world, work quickly, work whenever, and keep the tools unlocked. Know when to work alone and when to work together. Trust your colleagues. Share tools and ideas. No politics and bureaucracy. These are ridiculous in a garage. The customer defines a job well done. Radical ideas are not bad ideas. Invent different ways of working. Make a contribution every day. If it doesn't contribute, it doesn't leave the garage. Thank you for your time. I look forward to the Q&A where I can answer any of your questions. And if you're interested in learning more about the methods or discussing articles like I have one around the Innovation Catalyst Network we could send out, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Laszlo. Laszlo has been over many years a fantastic and reliable partner. Vincent, thank you so much for your insights. We now come to the QA part and hand over literally the time to you. We have seen some, hold on here, so QA, sorry about that. We have some questions coming in, and I will start firing away. So this is a question for Vincent. It says here, all the different types of innovation, disruptive, customer centric, open, incremental, and so on, are important. How do you successfully combine these different types of innovation into one strategic innovation mix?
That's an excellent question. And this is one of the challenges we are going through at the moment, because at the time of this speaking, we are trying to federate all our central functions, market as well, behind one innovation framework to be sure that everyone is adopting the same principle, the same approach, including for disruptive and incremental innovation. Of course, you might not have to go through all the same steps, so all the same principle and tools if you have an incremental and disruptive, but we are trying at least to develop the same kind of mindset, because at the end, should you have a disruptive or incremental ideas, incremental change, you have to think from your customers. Because we had the tendency in bigger corporate is to look, for example, business processes only from a Visio or an Excel chart and say, this is how the process looks like. And by the way, I will simplify it by removing these steps. Never thinking about, yes, but what are really the pain points of our customers? And customers might be internal one, like factory workers, Salesforce people, financial analysts. So yes, it's not exactly the same tool, the same principle you will use for disruptive than incremental. However, we try to have the same mindset for the people. Should you work on disruptive idea or incremental ideas? And we are trying to have exactly the same approach. So what I was talking before, like empathize, explore, and execute, stay absolutely valid, regardless the idea you may come with.
Okay, well, thank you for that question. I should say for that answer, and thank you for the question that came in. Here's one for Laszlo. Okay, that's interesting. The new normal is constant change. How can we innovate successfully in a market of perpetual transformation and globalization?
Thanks for that easy softball question. I really appreciate it. Well, so clearly you have to build the capabilities within your organization to be able to respond to your market. As Vincent eloquently described, you have to be able to stay connected to your market in many ways that the organization never had to do before. You have to listen to technology trends and global trends and all the rest of that. So you have to build the capacity to listen and work with the marketplace, to tap into startups and things like that who are pushing the envelope every single day. I was just reading about how Waymo and Google was going to unleash their first set of driverless cars to compete with Uber. So now you just get on your app and a driverless car will show up at your house. Uber thought they had this whole taxi thing figured out, and now they're going to be challenged at a very fundamental level. So anyway, Staying connected to your marketplace, being able to put in rapid strategy planning sessions so that your organization can respond to the opportunities they need, and building internal capabilities so that you have a discipline of innovation like Vincent was talking about, so that you can respond based on what your strategies describe.
Okay, thank you, Laszlo. Here's another one for Vincent. Okay, that's one I also like. So we're currently considering to implement an idea management system into our company. What can you tell us? What are the key benefits? How can we sell this internally and justify it internally? What are the key benefits that you have experienced in implementing a tool like Qmarkets?
Okay, so I think two main responses to these questions. The first one is when you implement an ideation management systems, you have to be sure that when you launch, for example, a campaign, you start with the real customer problems and not just a broad questions that will trigger a lots of mess. So the more precise you are with your innovation challenge and the questions you are looking at and the problems you are trying to solve, first of all, the best ideas will come out of the tools, first of all. Secondly, one of the key arguments we had for this one was, as we are a worldwide company, we have more than 80,000 employees all around the world. You never know, maybe someone in Malaysia might have a great idea for something that was expressed by someone in France, in Argentina, in Canada. So having an ideation management platform helps you to not stay on yourself and just also discuss, brainstorm within your project team, but also to capture data and possible thoughts, ideas from all our markets. And I can tell you, usually the best ideas are not coming from the people managing the project. They are coming from employee on the left, on the right, regardless the seniority, regardless how many years they might have worked in the company, and sometimes even regardless their own experience on the topic we are trying to solve. So this is for me a great benefit, is when you can easily touch the worldwide community of employees you have with a simple self-explanatory tool. And this is why we are also using Qmarket for the last years, because this is what I may say a self-explanatory tool. If you start, or I can say that you need to train people on how to submit an idea, you are dead. Okay, so it has to be self-explanatory. I know how to reach the campaign, how to submit my idea is 1-2 click, it's done. But there is this beauty of touching all the world for any kind of topics which are customer centric.
Okay, great, thank you. So here is a question, actually, a question to all three of us. I'm just looking here. So that's very good. So we'll start with Vincent, Laszlo, and then I'll take the last one. And somebody listened to one of my slides apparently, or they have the same issue. What is the best way to scale innovation throughout a global organization? So scaling innovation, and that's exactly, in your fast forward, they're mentioning fast forward here. What's the best way? Obviously, there's a very broad question here, but in the short time each one of us has, what are the best ways to scale innovation throughout a global organization? Okay,
so I will try to respond quickly because I will let you time to respond as well. That means if you want to scale, first of all, before scaling, you have to be sure that you are doing the right thing, because we have the tendency to scale stuff sometimes which doesn't make sense for customers. For example, what we have seen over the last months by deploying fast forward in the different markets is that sometimes even our management have the tendency to immediately jump to the scale moment when we are still trying to find the market product fit. So it's not because you are attracting 1 or 2 customers that you are ready to scale. So what we are promoting with fast forward is really an approach where progressively you bring more and more evidence and you reach a state where you have enough data and customers to justify to scale. Now, to scale, that means you have to apply as well the right approach, the right methodology. For example, in our case, for most of the project today, we are using Scrum because we are not losing in the execution, in the scale, the customer centricity. Because in Agile and Scrum, you are promoting the fact that you are going through short iterations. When you deliver at the end of each iteration something to your customer, they can test, they can give you feedback on it. So scaling through iterations is, first of all, much more important, because you will de-risk a lot the fact that you may scale for months and then you will realize that you are losing customer over the scaling. So think about the scaling and including the customer centricity and using the right methodology at the scale time. Okay, very fundamental.
Great, thank you. Laszlo, over to you.
So I'm going to take sort of the human aspect of this, because I'm going to say one of the wonderful things about inviting your organization to scale and innovate and scale collectively is there's nothing more sort of engaging and rewarding for an employee to see their ideas get realized. And quite frankly, there's never been a better time for individuals and their companies to innovate, right? The access to information, to tools, to people, to funds is unprecedented in any time in our history, and there's no limit to the problems that need to be solved. So an infinite number of problems and a great capacity to innovate if you give your tool the right set of tools and sort of bring a mindset to, we want you to innovate. And teach people how to create value in this world. The people who know how to create value turn out to be the most valuable people in a world in which constant innovation is needed. So things like, I gave you an example of CoStar, right? It is a simple tool, but is a profoundly deep tool that people can use and learn easily throughout your entire enterprise. And you can weave it into the fabric and the culture of your organization, and it can support people and drive them toward more empathetic solutions, like Vincent says, while balancing the needs of the enterprise to actually have a viable business model. So I think teaching some basic tools, but also recognize human beings love to innovate if you give them an opportunity to do it.
Michael, if you don't mind, I can just add one thing to jump on Laszlo. For example, when we are supporting project, helping our different colleagues in the world, I used to say to the project team, first of all, you have to act like a startup, because we will give you very few money at the beginning to prove that you are right or wrong and that you have the right customer, the right problem. But we are also teaching our management to think like a venture fund, which means that you progressively release the money and you progressively scale based on the data and evidence. So, for example, and this is a fundamental change in our organization, we are even changing our financial process, where we will much more work like a venture fund, which means that you will not get any more upfront millions of dollars to do something. It will be like, really, you will have to prove step after step that you are getting attractions and that you deserve to get more to scale. So it's no more like, give me $1 million and I will scale from all the markets we are working with. So this is also very important, that your financial process have to change, and your thinking, really thinking like a venture fund. I will put my money where I have the data and evidence that we are attracting customers inside or outside the organization.
Excellent.
So
Thank you.
Can I add one last little piece to Vincent's?
Okay.
One way you need to be able to scale, and I think Vincent picked on a critical point, is the leadership team needs to all buy in, right? You need, if I asked everybody on the call to ask their employees, who are the killers of bold new ideas, they would say legal, finance, HR. They would name all of those functions who have been dedicated their careers to maintaining the integrity of the existing organization. And if you want to innovate at scale, you need all of those people to lean in and, like Vincent said, be willing to experiment, to be willing to do try brand new things, to take the no out of innovation, right? The default needs to be yes. Let's figure out a way to fund this. Let's figure out a way to try it out and see, and what we learn, and gather the evidence to see if it's ultimately going to work. So not only I'm sort of talking about the masses getting involved and how you teach them skills, but as Vincent's pointing out, the leadership team has to buy into it and rethink how it actually runs the organization.
Okay, so we heard a lot about the processes, the human side, the leadership side. So thank you for these fantastic answers. On my side, obviously coming from the software side, I can answer this question by saying that we have, probably 70% of our customers are enterprise global large customers, 80, 90, 150, 200,000 employees. And to do exactly what about what Laszlo and Vincent are talking about. When you have the processes, when you have the methodologies, when you have the tools and the human part, a tool like Qmarkets lets you really scale it, because you reach every delivery person, every salesperson, every blue collar worker, every white collar worker. You bring true crowdsourcing together, where we can see when idea teams build online, where they come together from all parts of all continents and collaborate around ideas, and then make it happen. So in terms of that question, I think adding to what Laszlo and Vincent said, a powerful tool that lets you capture the ideas and let them push them through a whole funnel, from the initial spark through to the project and execution, is key. Good. One more question. I think we have time for one more question. So let me see here on my screen. So one of the questions is that we are, as an organization, our organization grows fast through merger and acquisition. Every time we add a new organization to our company portfolio, we create another silo. We don't have a joint culture, and this growth really, how is it phrased here? This growth really challenges us to have a joint innovation strategy. And the question is, how can we overcome this? So from my side, I can say again, of course, the perfect way to overcome silos are using a tool, because you can reach out with to everyone. We have seen it with many customers that have silos. They just took on a new company and a new brand, and they overcome this by involving them in the ideation process and simply giving them access to a tool, helping them also to boost the engagement, collaboration. But a brief comment from the two of you, I would appreciate about that. Go ahead, Vincent, and then Laszlo.
Yep. So I think the human aspect is fundamental. That means when you bring new organization in place, and this is what we are doing at PMI, because at PMI we have also acquired lots of company in the past. That means if you want to succeed, it's also to find a way for those organizations to work together. So for example, cross-functional team, but also cross-organization challenges. And today, if you discuss, for example, with your employees, and that surprised me a lot, because when I was delivering the initial workshop around customer centricity, around the lean startup, I was expecting lots of resistance, because that was a completely different way of thinking, of working. But if you look at the base and the people who are used to work in a project, or the new people joining, they are really eager to work in this way, regardless if you are owning to this organization or that one. They just want to work. And so if you can have the right cross-functional team across those organizations to work together, progressively, I'm sure that you can override or work around against those issues you are facing by putting silos organization one after one. It's not easy, definitively, because you will have resistance. You will still have at different management level resistance, because we are, for example, with Fast Forward challenging like hell the overall organization, because as soon as you start empowering those teams, I'm sorry to tell you this, management are losing power. They are losing control, which means that they are no more there to take decisions, because the decisions are brought by the teams. But the people, if you empower those people and say, you are free to bring the data, the evidence, and all the decisions will be made based on what you are bringing, I'm sure that you can really cross the barrier between multiple organizations and multiple corporates put together. I have no doubt about this.
Thank you. Laszlo? We're quite a bit over time, so
okay.
if you,
So just two quick things then. So one I would say is mergers and acquisitions are very difficult to manage. I love Vincent and both your comments that it needs to be an inclusive process. It's not so much that people hate change, they just hate being changed, right? Having something imposed on them. You can use these innovation processes to begin building bridges and create something brand new between those two companies that never existed before. And both of them can take ownership of that. And if you ask yourself one of those fundamental organizational design questions, what must be the same such that everything else can be different? What must be the same in this case is we need to innovate the same way, and we need to give the other organization that you just acquired as much room and space to do things the way they already had. Don't force changes on them that are unneeded, but include them in new ways to help build a shared future together.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to both of you. You've been superstars. I am absolutely. If I look here at the questions, we are actually we're just heating up. I have questions coming in. Seriously, this is amazing. So there are more and more and more questions coming in. So that shows we've had a very relevant topic, very interested topic. Thank you so very much for participating. Please, those questions, yes. Forward them to us. We can distribute them. But that's it from us today. Apologies about some of the small technical hiccups, but I hope it was the content that made your last hour positive and successful.
Thank you, Michael. This is Gary at IRI. In closing, I think we can all agree that this was a truly exciting and informative webinar on how Philip Morris International is driving and leading self-disruption. I want to thank our webinar sponsor, Qmarkets, and our presenters, Michael Stigler, Vincent Ducret, and Laszlo Jerfi. All IRI members will be able to access the webinar on our website, and all attendees will be receiving a follow-up email from Qmarkets. We're going to sign off. I want to thank everyone for their interest and time and wish everybody a happy holiday season. Thank you.